Sahiehl-Bukhari 501 narrated Abu Hanifa, Allah's Messenger, came out at midday and offered a 2-rakat Zuhr and Asr prayers at al-Bath, and a short spear or stick was planted in front of him as his sutra. He performed ablution, and the people took the remaining water left after his ablution and rubbed their bodies with it. Sahiehl-Bukhari 502 narrated Yazid bin al-Ubaid, I used to accompany Salama bin al-Aqwa, and he used to pray behind the pillar which was near the place where the curtains were kept. I said, O Abu Muslim, I see you always seeking to pray behind this pillar. He replied, I saw Allah's Messenger always seeking to pray near that pillar. Sahiehl-Bukhari 503 narrated Anas, I saw the most famous people amongst the companions of the Prophet hurrying towards the pillars at the Maghrib prayer before the Prophet came for the prayer. Sahiehl-Bukhari 504 narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet entered the Kaaba along with Usama bin Zayd, Uthman bin Talha and Bilal, and remained there for a long time. When they came out, I was the first man to enter the Kaaba. I asked Bilal, where did the Prophet pray? Bilal replied, between the two front pillars. Sahiehl-Bukhari 505 narrated Nafi, Abdullah bin Umar said, Allah's Messenger entered the Kaaba along with Usama bin Zayd, Bilal and Uthman bin Talha al-Hajabi, and closed the door and stayed there for some time. I asked Bilal when he came out, what did the Prophet do? He replied, he offered prayer with one pillar to his left and one to his right and 3 behind. In those days the Kaaba was supported by 6 pillars. Malik said, there were 2 pillars on the Prophet's right side. Sahiehl-Bukhari 506 narrated Nafi, whenever Abdullah entered the Kaaba, he used to go ahead, leaving the door of the Kaaba behind him. He would proceed until the remaining distance between him and the opposite wall about 3 cubits. Then he would offer prayer there where the Prophet had offered salat, as Bilal informed me. Ibn Umar said, it does not matter for any of us to offer prayers at any place inside the Kaaba. Sahiehl-Bukhari 507 narrated Nafi, the Prophet used to make his camel sit across, and he would pray facing it as his sutra. I asked, what would the Prophet do if the camel was provoked and moved? He said, he would take its camel saddle and put it in front of him and pray facing its back part as his sutra. And Ibn Umar used to do the same. This indicates that one should not pray except behind a sutra. Sahiehl-Bukhari 508 narrated Aisha, do you make us, women, equal to dogs and donkeys? While I used to lie in my bed, the Prophet would come and pray facing the middle of the bed. I used to consider it not good to stand in front of him in his prayers. So I used to slip away slowly and quietly from the foot of the bed till I got out of my guilt. Sahiehl-Bukhari 509 narrated Abu Sa'id, the Prophet said, what is ascribed to him in the following hadith, narrated Abu Salih as-Saman, I saw Abu Sa'id al-Khudri praying on a Friday, behind something which acted as a sutra. A young man from Bani Abi Mu'ayt wanted to pass in front of him, but Abu Sa'id repulsed him with a push on his chest. Finding no alternative, he again tried to pass, but Abu Sa'id pushed him with a greater force. The young man abused Abu Sa'id and went to Marwan and lodged a complaint against Abu Sa'id, and Abu Sa'id followed the young man to Marwan, who asked him, O Abu Sa'id, what has happened between you and the son of your brother? Abu Sa'id said to him, I heard the Prophet saying, if anybody amongst you is praying behind something as a sutra and somebody tries to pass in front of him, then he should repulse him, and if he refuses, he should use force against him, for he is a shaitan, a Satan. Sahiehl-Bukhari 510 narrated Busr bin Sa'id, that Zayd bin Khalid sent him to Abu Yahim to ask him what he had heard from Allah's Messenger about a person passing in front of another person who was praying. Abu Yahim replied, Allah's Messenger said, if the person who passes in front of another person in prayer knew the magnitude of his sin, he would prefer to wait for 40 days, months or years, rather than to pass in front of him. Abu Nader said, I do not remember exactly whether he said 40 days, months or years.